Alright, so here we are. My first episode of DJ Jack Beyond the Booth. I want to talk about everything and anything that I can today. Today will be a special episode. A lot of you guys have asked me what has happened. And sometimes when you ask what has happened, I don't know, I don't know how to take that. But I think I know what you're getting at. So I wanted to make sure that that this first episode was to get that out of the way. Maybe we answer some of those questions, maybe we don't. And maybe after this video, if you got a question for me and you want to reach out to me and you want to ask me, please by all means do so. I also want to go on record here by saying that I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I'm not telling this story so somebody will feel bad for me, because listen, I don't feel bad for me. And I don't have any sympathy for me. I've had a great life, and parts of it sucked, yeah, and parts of it was depressing. But I don't feel bad for me, and I don't feel sympathy for me, and neither should you. So let me get that out of the way, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that when they see this video, they're going to say, "Oh, well, he's just telling this story for, for sympathy." Or listen, I've never needed sympathy, so I don't need it now, and so I don't intend on doing it anymore in my life. But okay, let's get started. I was born on May 27th, 1983, to my parents Tom and Carrie Stewart. When I came out, the whole left side of my face was covered in black hairy nevus is what it's actually called. It's called a nevus. Years later, after I looked it up and after I've talked to people, because believe it or not, it took me 32 years to find a support group, and they're a great group of people. But it is so rare that it says right there, it says that I had a better chance of hitting the lottery and then walking outside and then getting struck by lightning. And what do you do? It's mine. I like it. I haven't always liked it. But what I was born with was a hairy nevus. I've had 56 surgeries to remove it. In 1983, they told my mom and dad that it was going to develop into cancer. I had my first surgery at 6 weeks old. I was the youngest baby in the Chicago Shriners to have a surgery. Now, let me tell you this: the Shriners, those are some amazing people. Amazing people. What they've done for me and what they do for children all over the world is just simply second to none. They took care of me. They took care of me right up until I was 18. And there's some amazing people. Went through a lot of skin grafts. They've taken skin off of my back and they've taken skin off my legs. And then they found a new technology. It's called a tissue expander. I had my first tissue expander at 6 years old. They placed it right at the top of my head here. Years later, they put one in my cheek and then one in my forehead. And I think that's it. I think that's all I've had. I think I've only had 3. I'm pretty sure. I'm getting old and I can't remember, but I've only had 3. I think I've only had 3 or 4, but I can't remember where the 4th one came from. So I'm going to say 3. Kudos to my mom. My mom was the one who, when you're doing a tissue expander, you pump that up with saline solution. It stretches the skin so that they can stretch the skin out, take the tissue expander out, pull it over, and cover whatever they got to cover. This is where I love my mom, and I love my mom. Don't take this wrong, but I love my mom no matter what. But I can't imagine what it would be like for a mother to have to pump this thing up herself. Because there's, they put it in, they put this tissue expander in, they give you a little tiny port, and she had to pump it up 15 cc every week, or 30 cc every week I got it twice a week because 30 cc was too much. And for anybody who don't believe that 30 cc was too much, my brother came home from basic, and I was so excited to see him that I wanted to get it out of the way. So we decided to do the 30 cc like that, and it was too much. And I've never seen my brother cry, but maybe twice in my life. That was one of the times, because you know, she ended up, again, it's a tiny port, and I couldn't imagine having to stick your child the way she had to stick me, and pump this thing up. But she missed a couple times, you know, and it happens, you know, it happens. And that was tough, and that was rough on her. I couldn't imagine, you know, my whole life I always thought to myself. My whole life I thought, man, this sucks, but I couldn't imagine what it's like for parents to go through that, to go through and watch watch your child go through all that hell. And it was hell, but we kept a good spirit. I had a great family. I have a great family. I didn't had. I have a great family. They kept me grounded. They never let me feel bad for myself. I did face some depression, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But you know, they did their best to keep me up. You know, part of this whole thing is you know, I spent a lot of time with a lot of infection. You know, I get a lot of infections, and so I was in and out of the Chicago hospital for a while. And then Chicago couldn't do no more for me, so they sent me to the Minneapolis Shriners. Again, the Shriners, wonderful, wonderful people, wonderful people. These people are angels, okay? But they sent me to the Minnesota hospital. Let me go back, because I want to tell some stories about all this, and so let me rewind a little bit. You know, so Chicago, Chi-Town, home of the Bears and the Bulls, Cubs and the White Sox. Now, I don't know this personally, and this is only stories that I've heard from my mom and my dad, so just bear with me. But apparently I was just a baby, and the 1985 Bears came up to visit, and a lot of times the Shriners are really good about getting people up there to visit. You know, in 1985, the Chicago Bears came up to visit. Well, apparently there was a running back, a young running back, that had it taken to me, and told my mom, and my mom must have been there 2 or 3 weeks, just exhausted, tired. And he told my mom, "Hey, go rest. Me and my wife will take care of this little guy." And this running back took me all over the place and carried me and changed my diaper, y'all. And took care of me great. Anyway, my mom got the rest that she needed, and this particular running back spent the day with me. Later, my mom calls home and she tells my dad that the Chicago Cubbies or the Chicago whatever football players are up. And my dad says, "Oh, yeah, no kidding?" And she says, "Yeah, there was this guy running around the hospital, Sweet Bang or Sweet, I don't know." She's like, "I don't know." And my dad said, "Oh, Carrie, was it Sweetness?" She says, yeah, it was Sweetness. Yeah, that's it, Sweetness." He said, "Oh my God, Walter Payton carried Jack around?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess." He goes, "Carrie, tell me that you got an autograph or a picture." She didn't get a picture with Walter Payton. Walter Sweetness Payton carried me around, changed my diaper, and she didn't get so much as a picture. Now, here's what's funny about that. Every time I took off for the hospital, my dad insured, especially in Minnesota, my dad ensured that we took a book of football cards with us, so that we wouldn't miss anything like that. And so yeah, there's that story, and that's my Chicago story. I don't remember much from Chicago. I was just a little guy. The only thing I remember is how itchy the skin grafts were, and they would put these things on your arms, you know, so that they would, you know, face out like this, so you'd be sitting like, you know, your arms are straight out. So that's the only, and they were hot too. That's the only thing I remember. But that kept me from scratching my face and getting an infection. But I don't remember much from that. I don't remember much from Chicago hospitals. Minnesota's a different story. I remember everybody from Minnesota. Those were some good times. In 1993, I met a linebacker from out of Lincoln. Went on to be a Big 12 Player of the Year, John Hess. He was when they do the Shrine Bowl, they came up for the Shrine Bowl. When they do the Shrine Bowl, they try to assign, or they used to. I don't know what they do now, but they used to assign a kid, at least 2 to 3 Shrine Bowl kids, and then, you go around and you play games or whatever, it's your day, you're a kid, and you don't know who you're going to run into. And John Hess was my guy. He was assigned to me, and we went around and we played basketball, and we shot pool. He tried to teach me how to play pool. I can't play pool, but I remember before he left, he said, you come down to Lincoln. If you get home, you come on down to Lincoln and say hi to us. And so I got home the day the Shrine Bowl game was played, and John ended up giving me his Shrine Bowl game jersey, so I have that in the house too. So again, what I was born with was a hairy nevus. It took 56 surgeries to remove it. Basically what a nevus is it's a giant mole. Again, in 83 they thought it was cancer. So there are, like I said, there are things that you deal with when you look the way I do. I remember my dad, you had to take some bullying, you had to take it. And I remember my dad saying, you don't have to take that shit. You go in there and you put one on the chin. And I was always afraid, I'm like, oh, I'm not a fighter, Dad. Come on, I'm not a fighter. And he used to tell me, which ironically is I'm telling anybody, that, my dad says, if they hit you, it's only going to hurt for a little bit. It's only going to hurt. It's going to only sting for a minute. You get back in there and do your thing. I faced things like, and I'm not going to mention any schools. I'm not going to mention this particular school, but I was third grade, and this can have a lot of effect on a kid. This third grade guy and kid, and getting picked on quite a bit. And I remember having to go. I laid one on this kid, right? I did. I laid one on him. Sometimes when you just had enough, right? And I laid one on this kid, and they sent us to the office, and so this principal is just ripping me apart, And my mom always said, if you go into the office, my mom's did the parent thing, if you go in the office, you call me, and I'll be up there in a minute. I'll leave work. So she's ripping me, and I finally looked at her. I said, I want to call my mom. And she looked at me and she said, "You shut up, Freddy Krueger." And I was like, "Whoa, this is an adult calling me Freddy Krueger. That's insane." She never did let me call my mom, but oh boy did my mom go in there like a little tornado, man. But my mom had enough, and that was when they were going to put when they were going to put this tissue expander in there. They were going to pull me out of school. They didn't want me to. Kids, because this is truer than anything. Kids can be very cruel. But they were going to put this one up here. They put one up top here because I was completely bald. They wanted to put some hair over there. My mom wanted hair. Which is funny because I shave my head now, but my mom wanted hair. So, well, that sounded bad. But they basically just gave me a hairline. So they were scared that. They were worried that another child was going to poke at it and pop it, and then we'd have to go through all this all over again. And so my mom said, "I'm not sending him to school." And so they fought that. They fought that over the summer. And so in the meantime, I went and had this surgery because and I trust my mom. My mom and dad, they knew what was best for me. I didn't know. They thought maybe one day that I'd want hair. It turns out I don't. But I'm glad they did it because, I got something to shave back there. So, so in the meantime, we went through this surgery, and they pulled my mom and dad in for a meeting, and my dad said, my mom and dad said, oh, we don't give a shit. Throw us in jail because he's not going, we're not going to put him through that. He's been through enough. We're not going to put him through that. And, so they brought me in, and here I come in trotting my John Hess, game jersey. Yes, I did have it washed because it stunk. But, yeah, we had it dry clean. So here I come trotting in with my John Hess, game worn jersey on, and there was 3 or 4 people there, and they all went, so I was like, whoa, what happened? But they put me in a homeschool. They allowed me to homeschool from there on until, at least till the tissue expander was out, and then they sent me to Hartman Elementary, where I met some of the best people in my life, and I still talk to a lot of those guys. Nobody, and I mean nobody, in my entire life has treated me better, and I'm talking about from the teachers to the kids. Everybody was so loving. I can tell you stories about my buddy Eric and my best friend Dale and Nadu, and I can remember all those stories, and I remember being invited in to play basketball, which was something that didn't happen when I was, a couple years before. That didn't happen. I didn't, I was the plague, and these kids, they didn't give a shit. They didn't see me for anything. They just seen Jack Stewart, and it was cooler than shit. And I stayed with those kids up until I went to Benson High School. I did go to Benson High School, and that was a great experience too. And I didn't have no problems at Benson High School either. No problems. But I will tell you this: I didn't have much of a middle high school experience. I didn't have an experience because, again, tissue expanders. 7th and 8th grade is what I did. Nowadays, I'm shocked because nowadays they're doing 6th and 7th grade, right? I missed my entire middle school experience. About 12 years old, we noticed that the nevus was actually growing through the skin grafts. So the doctor suggested that we do another tissue expander. They started off here in my cheek, and it got out. And I wish I was more prepared because we actually do have pictures of this. We went to see my brother while I had this thing in me, and it was almost at the peak here. This one was, but we went to see my brother in South Dakota, and I actually got a picture of I think it's the only picture I took too. But it's like my dad. It's me, my dad, and my brother, and it's the only picture I have of the tissue expander. I believe I'll have to check with my mom. That's something that I may share later down the road or something, But I missed the entire middle school experience. So I try not to give my advice to Abby. I always tell Abby, your mom's got better of an idea than I do, because I missed my entire middle school experience. They put this one in. That was from September to December of 7th grade. And then they swear up and down, and now I'm going to call bullshit here, but they swear up and down that they told me that they were going to put one in my forehead. And I don't think they did, because I got up and I was pissed off when they took this one out and they put that one in. I was pissed off. I woke up and I was like, yeah, okay, you ever seen Batman where the Joker goes in? And this is meant to be funny, so lighten up. So the Joker's getting his face all unwrapped, right? And he's like, mirror, that's how I thought. I was like, mirror. And they gave me the mirror, and I'm like, how the hell am I even going to cover this up? Jesus Christ, we just went through, September to December with this thing hanging out of my face, and now we got this, and they kept saying, well, you're going to be able to wear a hat, which was true for the first 3 weeks. The damn thing was out to here. I couldn't wear it. I mean, it could have had its own ball hat cap itself, but that's not what I'm getting to, Okay, so we'll go back. Again, these things get big. They can get big. Mine was out to here. And if you remember, when I got this one, if you remember right, there was a guy, and if it wasn't for this guy, and again, we'll get into this, but if it wasn't for this guy, I don't think I would have survived any of this. Again, I'm not telling you for this. I'm just telling you my story. That's all I'm doing. But if it wasn't for this guy who played Central Park, I don't know that I don't know that I'm still here. I had felt I had felt abandoned. I had 2 friends, and they called me and they checked on me every day. That was my best friend Dale, and it was my best friend Carrie Johnson. And they called on me every day. They called me every day, made sure that I was okay, came over and seen me. But it was very lonely. It was a very isolated feeling because you can't do a whole lot. You can't go outside because if you slip and fall and you bust this thing, you're going to start over. If you get stung by a bee and you get an infection, that's another 12 months of your life that you're in the hospital. And as cool as the Shriners were, it was still a hospital, and nobody likes to be in the hospital. I love that place. I don't regret any of it, but it's a very isolated feeling. I was very isolated and very lonely and very sad. And I remember when Garth did Live from Central Park. I think him doing that probably saved my life. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, and I might not get in trouble for this. I don't know, but I remember putting the tape in the VCR, and I remember hitting record, and I taped everything. I taped the whole concert, and I'm telling you guys, I must have watched that thing night and day, day and night. I wore the tape out, and I honestly believe that if it wasn't for that concert, and if it wasn't for the river, that I probably would have committed suicide, and that's the truth. It was a very lonely feeling. I had mom and dad. Mom and dad were great, and they were really good about trying to make me not feel sorry for myself. But when you're isolated and you ain't got nobody else, man, it's terrible. And what I want to say to that, what I want to say to this is, no matter what you're going through in life, in the dark parts of it, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So don't do something that you can't reverse. And I thank God for Garth Brooks, and I thank God for my brother who and he hates talking about it, and I don't blame him, but he caught me trying to, and he cut me down, and he told me if I didn't go talk to my mom and dad that he would, and so we went out and we got the right help, and we got back to where we needed to be. But it was a very lonely, very, very lonely 2 years. And as lonely as those 2 years are, this is where I got to step in and thank the DeMott family: Dale, Cheryl, Big Dale, Tony, Roger, Mike, Marie, Scotty. I'm forgetting somebody here. I know I am, and I don't mean to. Please don't. I'm just trying to think of right off top of my head. Those guys, again, it was for that time and frame, that was about feeling as normal as I could, and they did. They made me feel as normal as they let me feel. As worried as we were about busting this thing, busting the tissue expander, we didn't worry about it on the weekends. We they let me be a kid, and my mom and dad let me be a kid too, because I don't want anybody to go, oh man, his mom and dad didn't let. No, they let me be a kid. But it's something about going out and somebody outside your family treating you like you're human. It does wonders to you. These guys would, they would still wrestle around with you, and they'd still, make their jokes, and it wasn't mean jokes. It was, it was very loving, and so yeah, that's that. And that's all I'm going to say about that. It was a very dark time in my life. I don't like to talk about it. But my advice to you, if you've come this far with 24 minutes into it, and you've had to hear what I had to say, no matter what you're going through in life, find that something that you can hold on to, because no matter how dark it gets, there is a light. There is. And things get better. It gets a lot better. Did I ever think that I was ever going to find a wonderful, wonderful wife like I have, and have kids, and have grandbabies, and the life that I have. And no, I didn't. Not at that point. But here I am, standing strong. And I'm not afraid. Not afraid to stand and do my thing. And that's what's so great about all this. So that was middle school years. Like I said, I thank God every day for three people. Well, three things, I guess I should say. I thank God for Garth Brooks, my brother who caught me, and the DeMott family, because they made me feel normal. So that's what I like to call the dark years. Now we're getting into high school. And let me tell you, folks, when you are 15, I didn't have to worry about zits. I had to worry about a whole thing on my face, okay? But I was done. I was done with it. I didn't want nothing to do with it. My mom and dad sat me down. And I think I should go on record again, and I hate to keep saying this, but I have the best parents in the world. My mom and dad are they're angels. Number one, because I'm not the easiest person to live with. I've got a mouth on me. And number two, yeah, that's how I feel. I don't know how to express to it. They're angels, and I love them dearly. And they're great parents. And nothing in my childhood, even in the dark period of it, nothing of it was truly bad. They made sure that I had a roof over my head and clothes on my back, and they made sure I had the extra. I wanted a Nintendo 64. I got a Nintendo 64. They were great, and I was spoiled, and I loved them. I love them very much. So now we're getting into high school, right? So now we're doing our high school thing, and here it is. And I'm done. I am done. I am sitting at 53 surgeries. Now, this is my own fault. These last 3 surgeries, it's my own fault, because I am done. Going to the Shriners, I think that this is the point where I can tell the doctor, hey, I'm done. We're just going to move on. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. So I get up there. He sits me down. He said, you done? I said, I'm done. He said, there's nothing else you want to do. He said, now's the time to do it, because, we're as far as we can go. So if there's something that you want done specifically, this is your time. So I thought about it, and I thought about it. You see this thing here? Worst fucking decision of my life, people. I'm telling you. It don't even look like an eyebrow. But here's me thinking I'm going to go get an eyebrow. I'm going to look normal, right? No. So I sit down with the doctor and I tell the doctor, I said, hey, you know what? It'd be cool. It'd be cool if I could get an eyebrow out of this. That'd be cool. Kind of look normal. Yeah, no problem. So he starts drawing all over my face, right? Because that's what they do. They draw all over your face. They drew all over your face even for a tissue expander, right? So he's like, okay, and he sets surgery up, and we go to surgery, and I wake up, and I gotta fucking, no matter what I did, I always ended up with a black eye somehow. So I think the son of a bitch hit me once or twice while I was in there. That's a joke. But no matter what I did, I could have had, I don't know, surgery on my back, and it would have been, I'd have black eye. So I wake up, right? And now I wake up, and I've got not one eyebrow, but not 2 eyebrows, but now I've got 3 motherfucking eyebrows. And I'm like, this isn't what I've signed up for at all. What are we doing? No. So I'm pissed off. My mom's upset that I'm pissed off. The nurse is upset because I told her to fuck off. That's not true. I would never tell anybody to fuck off. I was meant for a joke. So the doctor comes in and he goes, what's the problem? And he says, Doc, look, you tell me what the problem is. I got 2 eyebrows on this side, and I got 1 eyebrow on that. This isn't what I signed up for. I said, if I'd have known this was going to happen like this, I'd have just been done. He says, no, calm down. He says, what we got to do is, we take this, and that's where these scars come from, is this eyebrow, okay? says, no. What we did was we took it from here, and we took it from here. What we got to do is, we got to put one here and here, and then we'll go back in, we'll close it, we'll gap it together, and it'll be fine. It'll be great. I instantly calmed down. Okay. He's like, yeah, we'll see you in 2 months. Get all healed up, no infection. We'll see you back in 2 months. We'll close that sumbitch up, and you'll look normal. Okay, not a problem. So I go back in, do my eyebrow. He closes it. He's right. Does it look like a normal eyebrow? No. Did it make me happy? For a little bit. Do I regret it? Quite a bit, actually, because I didn't know this fucking thing was going to have a life of itself. Because here I am, happy for now, and about 5 or 6 months into this thing, I'm noticing that I have now got my own afro puff growing out of my eyebrows. I mean, this thing is long. I mean, this thing is so long that I can take a comb and I can pull it out and I can braid it and I don't know. It'd probably be really trendy now, but no. So I'm like braiding this thing, and and it's pissing me off because it's in my face. This isn't what I've signed up for. So my kind mom, every time she's giving me a haircut, she's like, oh, well, we'll just cut your eyebrow. That's funny. So what I end up doing now is I just shave it off, because, yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. So that's a story of that. That's the eyebrow story. I'd probably tell that a lot funnier when I'm drunk. But that's it, and that was it. And then I went on after high school, and I met the love of my life. And I, like I said earlier in the video, I never thought that I would get married. I never thought that I would have children. And as scary as the dark part of my life was, what I call the dark part of my life, nothing makes you feel bad as to when I get my wife pregnant and nobody can guarantee me that she's not going to be born with an EVIS. That was 9 months of hell. Because here in Omaha, they just simply don't know enough about it. I learned later that there are other parts of the country that do really well with it. But here in Omaha, they just don't know nothing about it. There was nobody here in Omaha that could tell me that my baby wasn't going to be born with a hernia EVIS. And I've probably cried. I've cried a lot. Tony and TJ and everybody will tell you that. But I don't think I've ever cried as hard as I did on March 9th, 2006, when Abby came out, and she was perfect. And she was perfect. 5 fingers, 5 toes, on each hand, on each foot. 5, no EVIS, yes. I remember me and Dad fist pumping. Yeah. Because I was very happy. And so, that's my story. It's short. I've given you just about all the information I can. If you got a question, please feel free to reach out, and I will address it on the next video. I've had a pretty cool life, you guys. And like I said, I didn't do any of this. I didn't tell any of this so that so you feel sorry for me. Because I don't feel, looking back, there are things I wish I could have changed. Sure, but who doesn't? So that's that, Got to tell my mom and dad and my brothers and my sisters that I love them very much. Thank you for being by me the whole time, and I love you guys. So hopefully the next video will be a little longer. Hopefully we'll answer a few more questions about me. If you got them, now would be a good time to get them out of the way. I just simply don't like to talk about it at the bar. I don't think it's a good place to talk about it. Sometimes I get emotional when I think about it. Sometimes I don't. I know that I still get what the fuck happened to you, and I just simply don't respond to that because it's rude. And if you don't know how to ask somebody what happened, then I don't know how to tell you the truth. And by that, I mean, I must have saved over 100 puppies in my life with the stories I've told. I must have saved over at least 6 or 7 nuns. So, I remember being at a bar one time with Tony Martinez, my best friend, at Boom Brothers Riffing. And we went out to a bar, and he's like, this guy comes up and he goes, "What the fuck happened to you?" I said, "Oh man, I fucking went into a burning building and I saved 6 puppies and a nun. I didn't buy another drink that entire night." He's like, "I can't believe you saved a nun." Yeah, I can't believe you're an idiot. So yeah, so think about that when when you see somebody that might be a little different from you, who might not look normal. Think about how you're asking those things. Again, I'll go back to the tissue expander. I remember sitting at dinner and a mother completely moving her family of 4 because she was afraid I was going to give her some disease. Not having the right set of mind to think, maybe something's actually wrong with this. Maybe there's something surgically wrong with them. I don't know that I could ever get up and move my family physically from a table at a restaurant because I didn't know what was going on. So, I mean, think about that kind of stuff. If you see somebody who's maybe a little different than you, who's maybe not, maybe not normal. What the hell is normal anyway? That's what I always say. What the hell is normal anyway? I'm far from normal. Even if I wasn't born with a nevus, I wouldn't have been normal. I've been blessed in my life. I've been blessed in my life, and I got no complaints. Thought I'd follow my dad into roofing until roofing started kicking my ass. And then I went to Grandmother's one night, and you guys remember Grandmother's at all? No? Grandmother's was on 84th and just right off of L. I was there every Saturday night. And I used to go in there every Saturday night, and buddy Greg Baldwin said I should be a DJ, and so that's what I was shot for. And here we are today. So, all right. I don't want to waste no more of your time. I hope this was informational for you. I hope that you now know what's going on. Again, please don't ask me. Please don't ask me in the bar. I just, it's not the time or the place. If you got something to ask, I got no problems answering questions. Send it to me, message me, text me, call me. Don't ask in the bar. It's hard to get into those conversations there. So yeah, so if you got something you want to ask, send it to me. We'll address it next week on this video. Next week's topics, I think I'm gonna talk about Nebraska football a little bit. I think I'm gonna talk about my favorite artist on the local scenes here in Omaha, Nebraska. I think I'm gonna tell you. I think I will talk a little. You just heard me talk about Garth Brooks. I think I'm gonna tell you my favorite Garth Brooks memory, which was ironically when I had my tissue expander. And we'll just talk about whatever you want to talk about. So if there's something that you want to talk about, something that you're interested in, let me know. We'll talk about it here. My name's DJ Jack, and this is Beyond the Booth. Thanks for watching, guys.